Has Sheriff Johnson done anything wrong?
In my opinion, no.
A local sheriff accused of discriminating against Latinos in the community. We talked to the sheriff's office and found out what they had to say.
Chick-fil-A to go. We have the recent developments on the restaurant's status at Elon.
Late night fun. Musicians bringing bigger crowds to the local bars.
Good evening, Elon. I'm Brian Mazurski.
And I'm Scarlett Fakar. Elon Local News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
After a 2-year-long investigation, the U.S. Department of Justice is accusing Alamance County Sheriff Terry Johnson of racial profiling against Latinos in the county.
Joe Bruno has been following this story since its start. He joins us now with tonight's top story. Joe?
Scarlett and Brian, the sheriff of Alamance County, Terry Johnson, has an office in this building right behind me. Now, he won't be back in that office until Tuesday, but for now, his office is facing some serious allegations from the Department of Justice.
He needs to protect the civil rights of the whole people.
Sergio Guzman is one of more than 16,000 Latinos who live in Alamance County. He is concerned with the Department of Justice's investigation that the Alamance County Sheriff's Office is routinely discriminating against Latinos. But spokesman for the sheriff, Randy Jones, says Guzman has no reason to be afraid.
What would be the motivation of the 270 total employees down here to say we're going to go out on this crusade to persecute any group of people?
The DOJ found that Alamance County deputies are between 4 to 10 times more likely to stop Latino drivers. The investigation also found the ACSO is in violation of the Fourth Amendment by having unjustified traffic stops of Latinos.
I've got an unmarked car and 38 years experience. If I couldn't find one Hispanic a day to arrest, you know, there's something wrong.
ELN investigated. From January 2009 to July 2012, 1,450 Latinos were stopped in Alamance County. Of those 1,450 people, 14% of those stopped were arrested. The arrest rate for non-Latinos was less than half of that.
Has Sheriff Johnson done anything wrong?
In my opinion, no.
The DOJ interviewed current and former employees of the ACSO. Someone accuses Sheriff Johnson of referring to Latinos as taco eaters, but Jones says that's simply not true.
If I don't like you, it's either going to have to be so bad that I'm just going to shoot you on sight, or I'm not going to jeopardize my future.
It's always comforting to hear that from local law enforcement.
Robert Boyer is a former journalist, and he thinks this scandal is an embarrassment to Alamance County.
It really grieves me to see that Alamance County, which is really a great place to live and raise a family, is becoming known for all the wrong reasons.
The DOJ gave the Alamance County Sheriff's Department 30 days to sign a consent agreement. When I spoke to spokesman Randy Jones, he said at this moment the Sheriff's Office has no intentions of signing any consent agreement. If they refuse to do so, the DOJ can sue Alamance County. Now, we'll have continuing coverage of this on our website, elonlocalnews.com. For now, in Graham, I'm Joe Bruno, Elon Local News.
Now continuing coverage. ELN has been following the alcohol law enforcement's visit to campus last weekend. Brennan McDavid joins us in the studio with the latest information. Brennan.
Thanks, Brian. The number of arrests and citations given out last weekend has only been speculation. I spoke to both Elon Town Police and alcohol law enforcement to get some answers. Alcohol law enforcement is a name Elon students have come to fear. But after their visit 2 weekends ago, we found out that ALE only had a minor role in the total number of citations given that weekend. According to the ALE, 62 citations were given out that weekend, and only 15 were given by the ALE. Of the 35 officers on duty that weekend, only 8 were associated with the ALE. Elon Town Police say there's a reason for that.
I've yet to figure out the big to-do about ALE. They write less underage drinking tickets generally because their focus isn't underage drinking.
And the local branch of alcohol law enforcement confirmed to ELN Lieutenant Cindy Ring's reasoning.
One of our main focuses is at the locations where alcohol is sold, be it what's called an on-premise location or an off-premise. Off-premise being like a convenience store, on-premise being like a restaurant or something like that.
So, some students say they saw a police dog out as well. I found out there was only one out, but it was never used. You can be sure ELN will continue to follow the rest of ALE's visits during the year. For now, I'm Brennan McDavid, Elon Local News.
Thanks, Brennan. Seized drug money is being put to use by Elon Town Police, and with 22 drug violations just this year, the money adds up. According to Town Police, the department is given a percentage of the seized drug money. For the 2011-2012 year, Elon Police received almost $17,000. The money has been used for several resources, including a police car and surveillance cameras. Elon Town Police Chief Cliff Parker welcomes the additional revenue.
Movie and music companies are clamping down on illegal downloading across the world. Several Elon students were given citations for taking part in the trend. Vice President of Technology Chris Fulkerson says that around 14 movies are pirated a day on Elon's campus. The number of pirated music is even higher, but Fulkerson says they can't follow up on every violation.
We try to meet the spirit of the law. It's just so overwhelming at times that we can't. We do shape the traffic, so we're complying there. We do educate. We do notify students when we have time to do it. But if they wanted us to do it to every single person, we just don't have the time or the resources to do that.
And when they do follow up on a violation, Campus Technology sends a copy of the letter to Judicial Affairs, and any punishments are handled by that office. And we move on. Today is the 2-year anniversary of the death of Elon student Michelle Fledger. Fledger collapsed outside McMichael Science Center in 2010 and died soon after. An autopsy confirmed she died of a blood clot in her lungs. Fledger's mother, Joan Cummins, filed a lawsuit against the Bayer Corporation, saying their contraceptive Yaz caused her daughter's death. The case is still waiting for trial in Philadelphia.
Elon's LGBTQ group is working to pass a proposal that could remove fast food chain Chick-fil-A from campus. Chick-fil-A became a talking point this summer after the company's chief operating officer, Dan Cathy, made comments about same-sex marriage. Our Jason Puckett found out why the issue is now even more complicated.
A proposal to Elon's SG8 takes 2 weeks before it's even considered, and a recent proposal from Spectrum asks them to begin the process that would kick Chick-fil-A off of Elon's campus.
The text of the legislation was asking the SGA to take a stance on how Chick-fil-A as an organization, through their charitable donations, do not align themselves with the university's non-discrimination policy.
But right now, that proposal is in limbo.
The sponsor of this legislation, who is a senator, has asked the vice president not to introduce it.
Last Wednesday, multiple news sources reported that Chick-fil-A would stop funding anti-gay groups. Chick-fil-A has not announced the changes, but Spectrum Vice President Laura Lee Sturm says it was natural to postpone the legislation.
If they have cut the funding, we obviously don't want to propose this legislation.
But Sturm says that if Chick-fil-A does not officially stop funding these groups, they will immediately attempt to pass the legislation. And at that point, it would have to go through SGA's legislative process.
We have to wait 2 weeks on the vice president's desk for consideration, and so it would be 2 weeks that it has to sit on the vice president's desk for senators to review and members of the community, and then we'll discuss it.
Chick-fil-A has yet to release a statement about the issue. It's expected sometime this week. But for Sturm and Spectrum, this proposal is only the beginning of their fight.
We've been brainstorming a few ideas just in case it doesn't pass, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what that is.
Jason Puckett, Elon Local News.
Even if this proposal passes, the decision to remove Chick-fil-A will come down to schools administration. Stay with ELN this week to keep up with that legislation.
The presidential debate season is about to start, and Elon is having its own debate to discuss the issues. Nearly 600 students and faculty voted on specific issues to debate. The three topics with the most votes are the economy, healthcare, and same-sex marriage. The audience at the debate will be able to suggest other issues to discuss using a live Twitter feed. The debate is on October 25th from 6:30 p.m. until 8 in Whitley Auditorium.
Unrest in the Middle East is going into its second week. Elizabeth Cantliner joins us now from Amman, Jordan, with how it has affected American students studying abroad. Elizabeth?
I've actually been very pleasantly surprised. Every time I get in a taxi, which I do take taxis everywhere, they always notice I'm obviously not Arab, and they ask if I'm from America. And when I do, they always say, "Oh, welcome to Jordan." They're all just so pro-American over here. They have no problems with us or our government. The main problems they have are obviously with the specific people that are doing these things, such as making this video, publishing these hurtful cartoons, things like that. It seems that Jordanians really do understand that it's not the American people's or the American government's fault. It's really specific incidents like they have over here of radicals doing what they please without the permission of others.
60 Minutes correspondent Byron Pitts spoke at Elon Thursday evening as part of the Liberal Arts Forum. His speech, "We Are Tough and Delicate Creatures," was sparked off the 2013 Common Reading program. Pitts shared personal stories from his career and let the audience ask him questions. Pitts stopped by the ELN studio with a message for journalism students.
I think it's an exciting time. It's always a good time to be a journalist, I think. These are exciting times. I think there's a real need, as the world becomes smaller, for well-trained journalists to have the courage of their convictions, to be willing to go places around the world to tell stories. And I think that the young people who finish this program will be as well prepared as anybody.
Feel like cooking and campus food just won't cut it, but you don't want to spend money? Julie Morris is in the studio with tips on how to save money while dining out on this week's College Consumer. What do you have for us, Julie?
Well, Brian, we want to eat out at least once a week, sometimes every day. And as college students, we can't always afford that luxury. But I have some tips on how to still enjoy yourself at dinner instead of worrying about your bank account. First, this one is easy. Water. It's free. And while that soda might be calling your name, the $2 you save will be worth it. Next, eat out for lunch instead of dinner. A lot of restaurants have lunch menus, typically a smaller portion with the same entrees you crave, which is good for your waist, and a lower price, which is good for your wallet. Now here's a fun one. Download Foursquare and check in. Tons of places will have a coupon just for telling your social media network that you're there. It's really simple to do, and you might end up saving $5 by just using your favorite app on your favorite device, your smartphone. Next, research it. If you know you are going out to eat with a friend, see what deals are out there. Use websites like Groupon and Living Social, and Restaurant.com lets you buy a $25 gift card for restaurants like Bricks and Piedmont Ale House for only $10. And finally, make 2 meals out of 1. Ask for a to-go box before your food even makes it to the table. We all know that those portions at the restaurant are big enough for 2, so immediately put half of your entree in a doggy bag and save it for lunch the next day. Now that's getting a bang for your buck. Looking out for the college consumer, I'm Julie Morris.
Thank you very much, Julie. More than 300 students lined up outside of College Street Tap House this weekend to enjoy a night filled with music. Reporter Naima Abdullahi brings us the story.
You would think a Grammy Award-winning artist was at Elon this weekend, but instead the crowd came out to hear an underground artist. Elon students lined up before the show to watch a performance by the rap group Dean's List.
I just love music. You know, I want to kind of bring a message to people. I feel like music is a good way to express yourself.
Junior Connor Ambrose started planning for the show 2 months in advance and sold out the pre-sale tickets 5 days before the show.
It's cool walking up on stage and having, knowing that all those kids were there because of something cool that you did.
Senior Tyler Marenyi, who goes by the stage name T-Mare, opened up the show along with senior Josh Bonney. He says working with a strong team allowed him to relax and do his part.
They're there on time, they get everything set up well. I didn't have to worry about a single thing the whole night. It was just here's your stuff, here's where you can set up, plug in right here.
You guys hear me?
You're able to, showcase all their hard work and, you know, really get up there and have a good time and see all like the smiling kids up front.
The owner of Tap House, Chris Russell, gives credit to Ambrose's team for orchestrating a successful show.
It's been a dream working with the promoter, and it's worked out really well.
Ambrose says he hopes to go into event promotion as a career route after he graduates.
I mean, it's fun. You know, why not do what you love?
Naima Abdullahi, Elon Local News.
$100,000 came to Elon from just down the road. Retirement community Twin Lakes created a scholarship for students in the physical therapy and physician assistant programs at Elon. The School of Health Sciences started in April 2011, and the new Physician Assistant Studies program will start in 2013. Elon Local News confirmed this gift is the largest scholarship the Health and Sciences program has received. Elon is recognized nationally for its study abroad programs, and with the experience of study abroad, many students bring home interesting stories. Steve Roth spoke to one sophomore with a story that might surprise you.
You can't fake a lifestyle like the one she has back in Vietnam.
I found out when I was 5, and then every other year we would go back to Vietnam, and then I would understand the whole treatment and how like people would always acknowledge me and then like always want to hang out with my family.
Elon sophomore Lynn Tanu was born in America, but her Vietnamese background may be a bit of a surprise.
My great-great-grandfather was king of Vietnam, so my brothers and I are princes and princesses.
Some people don't believe Tanu's big news.
And then I was like, oh yeah, I really am a princess. And then all these guys would be like, you know how many times girls say that they're princesses?
Tanu says during her senior year of high school, she had to prove to her classmates that she was telling the truth. She decided to do more than just Google it.
I took my friends to Vietnam with me, and then we like looked at everything that we owned and stuff like that, and they're like, dang, I guess you are.
Even with all the hype surrounding her family in Vietnam, Tanu's friends say she's modest and very down to earth.
She doesn't live up to the title where she's like feels like she's endowed more than anyone else. So I think, you know, she represents not only like her family name, but I think the country itself in a good way.
Tanu says she will return to Vietnam in the summer of 2014, and she hopes some of her new Elon friends will make the trip with her. Steve Roth, Elon Local News.
An Elon alumna is also getting some national attention after an appearance on the new reality singing competition. Jenny Lee sang Miranda Lambert's Gunpowder and Lead on the new CW show The Next. While she may have brought some strong pipes, it didn't win over the public's vote, and she will not continue in the competition. Lee sang in Twisted Measures at Elon.
She's a junior, a dance major, and just got back from New York after performing some of her original choreography. ELN's Carissa Parent has more.
Julie Crothers has been dancing for most of her life, and thanks to her dad, her favorite activity took her to a bigger stage.
He's like, would you want to go perform in New York, the solo that you shared with me? And I was like, sure, thinking it wouldn't actually happen.
One of her dad's co-workers has a connection to a dance studio in the Big Apple. After seeing a video of Crothers' choreography, she was asked to perform.
It's specifically highlighting stories of resiliency in people's lives and how we have overcome our situations.
The show's theme was overcoming situations, and for Crothers, that was nothing new. She was born with just one arm and wears a prosthetic arm. Crothers sees her obstacle as a blessing in disguise.
This solo was the first time I've ever performed without my arm on, which was kind of a big deal. And through the content of this solo, I'm kind of putting myself out there, sharing my story, trying to be open with the audience.
Crothers hopes her New York City performance will help her dance career.
It gives me exposure. You know, I'm not sure who's going to be there to see the show, and it's just a great experience.
Crothers says the performance was a success. Carissa Parent, Elon Local News.
On Friday, Elon hosted its first ever Campus Fest. Music and dancing echoed in Young Commons as groups from campus displayed their different cultures. More than 40 organizations endured the hot sun and shared their backgrounds with the rest of campus. The festival, sponsored by the Truett Center and Multicultural Center, featured performances by local and campus groups. Organizers say the festival's goal was to teach everyone about different cultures on campus.
Everything you love about Elon local news is now on the radio. ELN has partnered with WSOE to bring you ELN on WSOE, a live radio news show airing Tuesdays at 5 p.m. to give you the latest Elon, North Carolina news updates. You can find us on Twitter at ELN on WSOE, on Facebook, and always online at elonlocalnews.com. ELN on WSOE 89.3 FM.
We didn't have any football at Rhodes Stadium this week, but Phoenix fans sure did have plenty to be excited about. The men's soccer team hosted the 6th-ranked Charlotte 49ers at Rhodes Stadium and pulled off one of the biggest upsets in program history. Early on in the 13th minute, Matt Wesco finds Chris Thomas, who slips behind the defense and nets the first goal for the Phoenix. The goal was Thomas's 9th in only 7 games. That's some good production, folks. But if some is good, then more is better. Wesco is going to feed the senior striker again for Thomas's SoCon-leading 10th goal of the year. The goal put Elon up by 2, and that would be enough to seal the win. The defense held strong the rest of the way, capping a huge upset for the Phoenix. The women's soccer team played its second conference game of the season yesterday against App State. The Phoenix struck early in Sunday's tilt. Here in the 8th minute, the first attempt ricochets off the crossbar, but lands right at the foot of Rachel Diver, who puts it away for the first goal of the game. But the Mountaineers would equalize quickly in the 28th minute with Samantha Childress's 20-yard shot. The two teams battle hard all day, playing tough defense to keep the score at 1 apiece through 90 minutes. Just 6 minutes into overtime, though, Childress would find the back of the net once again for the game winner, handing Elon their second loss in as many conference games. For many athletes, the end of their college careers marks the end of their time in competitive athletics. But for one baseball player, his career is just getting started.
The memories here, I wouldn't trade them for anything. So, past 3 years have been awesome.
Jimmy Stokes pitched for the Phoenix for those 3 years, but all that changed June 6 when he was drafted in the 22nd round by the Cleveland Indians. But making it to the pros came with its share of trials as Stokes tore a ligament his sophomore year.
Coming back from Tommy John surgery, that was the biggest part that I've really just struggled at, and still got to kind of find where I was before surgery. But if I can command 3 different pitches, I think I could have a lot of success.
Someone who has contributed to his success is former Phoenix teammate Jimmy Reyes, who plays for one of the Texas Rangers minor league teams. They continue to train during the off-season.
He'll be my workout partner, which is awesome because I can, there's so many things I ask him about because he's a couple levels higher than me.
Although Stokes has made the pros, he acknowledges the stepping stones of his past.
As a kid, my goal is, I want to make my middle school team, then I want to make the high school team. Once I was in high school, I want to play college baseball now. Made it to a D1 school, saw the guys here. I want to play professional ball now.
Behind me is the mound that Stokes spent his last 3 years on here at Elon. Now in the Cleveland Indians organization, he toes the mound on a much bigger stage.
Knowing you're a professional baseball player that you made it that far it's awesome because not a whole lot of people can say that about themselves, and I just want to enjoy every minute of it while I'm out there playing and everything, and don't take anything for granted.
Jimmy Stevenson, Elon Local News.
The men's tennis team hosted the Elon Fall Invitational over the weekend, with a couple Elon players finishing on top. The Jimmy Powell Center was busy all weekend with athletes from around the country. Two of the busiest were Elon players Stefan Fortman and Carlos Arboleda, who both won individual titles in their respective draws. Elon will next play on October 12th in the Wake Forest Invitational. The women's volleyball team kicked off its conference schedule this week with 2 home games at Alumni Gym, first taking on UNCG on Thursday and then College of Charleston on Saturday. The ladies got off to a slow start, dropping the first 2 sets to the Spartans, who were on the verge of sweeping Elon 3-0. But the team fought hard and worked the match back to 2 sets apiece, forcing a 5th and final set. The end of the match was a nail-biter, but UNCG ended the game on a 6-0 run to take the set and the win away from the Phoenix. On Saturday, the girls were back at it against College of Charleston, but unfortunately, the results weren't any better. The Cougars looked good and were too much for Elon to handle. They lost in 3 straight sets, falling to 7-10 overall in the season and moving to 0-2 in conference play.
That's all the time we have for this Elon Local News. Thanks, Jamie, for all the latest sports update. We are happy to bring you all the news that matters to you. Be sure to stay with us throughout this week for everything on ELONLocalNews.com.
From all of here at Elon Local News, have a great week, Elon.